Ever wonder what it feels like to win more than $250,000 over 2 days playing the horses? Well, you're about to find out. Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Scatoni, and welcome to week 4 of Best Bet, the Del Mar Wagering Seminar, where I am joined by a special guest each week to discuss the best betting opportunities on Sunday's Del Mar card. And what a guest we have this week. Right now, he's leading the NHC Tour, where the winner will receive a $100,000 first prize. And 2 weeks ago, he finished third in the prestigious Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, winning more than $250,000. I had the pleasure of meeting him a long time ago when I was editor of the Horse Player magazine, and I am now thrilled to see how successful he's been this year on the tournament circuit. Please extend a warm welcome to this week's special guest, Dylan Donnelly. Dylan, how are you?
Doing very well, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's another beautiful day at Del Mar. We got a little bit of cloud cover, but that'll burn off soon, and we'll be ready to rock and roll for a good day of racing. So I had this, in my introduction, I talk about tournament play. What a year you've had playing tournaments, leading the NHC, finishing third in the BCBC. So for those in the audience who aren't really familiar with handicapping tournaments, why don't you talk just a little bit about the NHC Tour and then tell us how you started getting serious about tournament play?
So the NHC Tour is just a year-long tour where you accumulate a bunch of points throughout NHC tournaments, and it's your 7 best scores from online tournaments. You get a certain amount of points if you come in first place. So you get 3,300 points, and it's your best 7, and you just climb up the leaderboard, and I think they pay the top 15, top 10, and whoever wins, whoever has the most points at the end of the year, wins. Yeah.
And currently you're in first place with what, about 8 weeks to go?
Yeah, I think there's 8 or 9 weeks left to go. So I feel like I've gone 43 seconds to the half-mile pole, and I'm screaming for the wire.
Wire!
Yeah, I switched leads. I'm on the wrong lead, and oh boy.
You got to get there. So you've had a remarkable run. I know you just won a horse tourneys tournament on Friday. Talked about the BCBC, other tournaments this year. What do you attribute your success to this year? Have you done anything differently, or what do you think?
To be honest, probably COVID, because I haven't had anything else to do. I've just been at the house and with my wife, who's been right next to me, rooting me on this whole time and giving me the chance to study when I need to for big tournaments, and just kind of let me do my thing and chase it. I've always, when I went to Vegas last year, I decided I'm just going to try to chase the tour this year, and I needed to put my foot down and just put my blinkers on and grind away. And, she's just been very supportive and has let me chase it.
Well, I always say behind every good man is a great woman. So kudos to you guys for having a terrific year. Let's talk about the BCBC for a second, because that's arguably the biggest contest of the year. What was your mindset going in, and what were you thinking in the last race when you saw Authentic and Improbable run 1-2?
So this was like only my 4th or 5th live money tournament that I've played in. And you just have to go in there not caring about if you go broke. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I had 2 $10,000 entries, $7,500 bankrolls, and you just had to be prepared to lose it. If it was whether the first race, second race of the contest, or the very last race, you just have to kind of go in guns a-blazing and not think about the money. You really can't. So, I went in there the first day I was going to bet $1,500 to win on a horse on both entries, and the tote machine didn't work. And, I couldn't make the bet, and the horse ran second to last. So, some things happen for a reason, I guess. I had an extra. So at that point I was already up $1,500 on both entries.
Right. You're like, this could be a good day. If
it's be good. Yeah.
So in a tournament like that, when you're saying that you have to really feel strongly about your opinions and you have to back it up with your bankroll. Are you looking for a couple of spots to really get involved in, and how do you find those spots?
Yeah, like what your strengths are. Like I'm not really familiar with a lot of European horses and stuff like that, and like grass races. I think there's just too many variables that can go into it. So I focused on kind of the dirt races, a lot of them. I feel like that's where my stronger opinions are. So I don't know. Like I started from the back end of the card on Saturday and worked my way forward, because I've heard just from listening to people about the BCBC, you need to be right about the last race because people be firing away. So I kind of went backwards, and thank God I had an opinion, in the last legs in the last race. So
how much did you have going into the last race, and then what was your approach to playing the last race?
So I was kind of there somewhere. I read that I could get more tour points if I played on site. So I was playing from the Santa Anita satellite. So my whole thing was, I put in the calculations. I thought that as long as I came in like the top 13 or so, I could get enough tour points to boost my score. Right. So that's what I was kind of just hoping for. So I wanted to play it safe, but just go for it. I think I had about 30K going into the last race, and I thought it was between Tom's d'Etat, Improbable, and Authentic. I thought those three had a very, very good chance of making the top three, top two. So I played like, I think it was like a $6,000 exacta box between the 4, 8, 9. And then I did another $2,000 exacta with my weighted opinion. I thought Authentic had the best shot of winning. So I put him on top of Improbable and Tom's d'Etat. And then I played a couple trifectas just having Authentic on top with the 4, 8 underneath. Unfortunately, Tom's d'Etat didn't come in, but for third. But I hit the exacta pretty good, and that's what boosted me up to third place.
After the race, did you think you had a chance to win, or did you think someone else might have had more money in that combination?
Yeah, I didn't really think that I was going to win. I was thinking like somewhere along the lines of 6th place, 5th, 6th place. I was just happy that I was gonna have a good score, and I was gonna take home good cash, and I was gonna do well for the tour points. So I was cool. And then when my buddy told me 3rd place, I was like, well, what? You're reading that wrong. You have to be reading it wrong.
Right. So you ended up with like 136,000 bankroll, and then an additional 100 or so grand for the 3rd place prize.
Yes. And I hit the dollar pick 4, so that was cool. So that was for 10 grand as well. So.
What a day! It's like the day that the horse players only dream of, right? It's nice to actually talk to someone where it's come to fruition.
Seriously, that was the biggest day I've ever had, and it was super cool.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to talk about a couple of races you like today. I know you want to talk about race 7 and 8, but before we do, I just want to mention that speaking of live bankroll contest, there is a Del Mar contest, a $4,000 live money Del Mar tournament on Saturday, November 28th. I know you told me you're going to be firing away, Dylan. So anyone else out there can play also through TVG. There'll be $100,000 in total prize money, as well as 3 BCBC entries for next year and 4 NHC entries up for grabs. So I know it's tough to say, Dylan, without having looked at that card yet. It's a week away, but do you have a particular strategy or approach when it comes to live money play as opposed to your just daily, day-to-day play when you're sitting at home firing away?
Kind of yes and no. Like if I play in these live ones, I'm gonna try to go for the win, and try to just go for the win. So I tend to take bigger stabs, just just really narrowing stuff down. I might spread more like in a day-to-day play. I mean, there's no pick 3s or pick 4s or pick 5s in that. So pretty much just try to hammer a certain race in the exacta or a win bet or a daily double straight. So it doesn't really change, but I guess I'm just firing away more because you have a bigger bankroll for that day.
Right, and you stay targeted, and you really put enough money behind your opinions so that if you do hit, you're putting yourself in a position to win. And that's the whole point of the tournaments. Like, the old adage is like, if you didn't finish in the money, you may as well finish with zero, because
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
you're playing for that added value.
Yeah, no, you go for it. That's what you do.
Fire away. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about today's races. And as we talk about the races, we'll talk a little bit about your handicapping and wagering philosophy. I know you wanted to focus on races 7 and 8 because you have some strong opinions in there. Race 7 is a competitive $80,000 optional claimer, non-winners of one, for 3-year-olds only, going 8 furlongs on the lawn with the rails at 30 feet. The morning line favorite is number 3, Rip City, lukewarm at 3-1. Coming off 3 wins in a row, including 2 wins against starter foes, where I thought he got perfect trips. He now has to run against Allowance Company. He's running for the $80,000 tag. He's breaking from the 9-hole. A couple of questions there, but that said, he does have really good tactical speed that should allow him to get position early. Then we'll see how he stacks up against allowance types. How do you see the race, Dylan?
It's a tough race. I don't think all of them can win, but they all can run super well. They all have good numbers. I was going with, just because I think that he has just as a good shot of winning as any other horses, but I think he's going to drift up pretty good. The 3, I'm Leaving You, he's 5-1 on the morning line, but I think he can drift up to like 8 to 10-1. So, I don't think there's much separating these horses. So you go with the one who's going to offer, I think he's going to offer really good value. I was going to go with the 3 and the 9. He's won his races against cheaper, but who am I to say he's not going to keep improving? Because he looked really sharp in his last race, and if he's got another move forward, then they're probably running for second. So.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned 2 important things, value and sharp horses. So let's talk about value for a second. How do you define value, and what are you looking for when you handicap a race?
See, values means different to everybody. Value, yeah. People always say it's 10, 12, 15, 20-1. That's your value. But if there's a 6-5 shot in a 4-horse field, that should be 1-5, 2-5. That's phenomenal value. It's all relative. It's, if there's, if the horse is, even in a 10-horse field, if you think the horse should be like 5-2 and he's the most likely winner by a lot, that's value. It doesn't matter that he's 5-2. Who he's running against, if you think he's going to jump forward and lay over this field, then you don't have to search for that. That's value to me. You don't have to search for anything too crazy.
Sure. So when you say that, do you actually make a value line for yourself, or you just kind of know it intuitively from having done this so long?
Exactly. Just doing it for 20 plus years. You kind of know which one's going to take money, who's not, and who's going to drift up. And it's just a learning experience throughout the years of you will know when you see it. So
yeah, I agree. Like when I first started out, I used to be very diligent about making a value line for every horse in the race. And then, after a while, it just becomes intuitive. It's like second nature, right? You just say, okay, this horse is 3-1 on the morning line. He should be 8-5. Sure. And then when the time of the race comes up and you see that the horse is 3-1, and the morning line maker got it right, but you think that the horse is better than that and should be a shorter price, then that's good value.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, there's some horses that you just, they can win, but you're never going to play him because he doesn't offer anything. Like the horse, like tournament wise, like I'm never going to play this horse. He's 3-1, but he doesn't move the needle for me. He doesn't do it for me. So, the more you do it, the more you'll be in tune to these things.
Yeah. So, we're going to get into your wagers for this race in just a second, but I did did want to mention, when I went back and looked at a bunch of the BCBC plays that everybody made because they're available online, and I looked at your plays, I saw that you had a really good mix of different types of wagers, where you had a strong opinion. You definitely bet the horse to win. You bet daily doubles. You bet exactas. You even keyed a bunch of trifectas. Is there a specific type of wager that you gravitate toward, or do you find that everything is just race dependent or value dependent?
Yeah, usually it's race dependent, value dependent. But I seem to do in graded stakes races or just listed races or like age restricted races, like straight 3-year-olds. I seem to have a better understanding of those horses because they've shown what they can do. There's more form that's not hidden. And I tend to see those races better. So I tend to do exactas or tries in those races instead of maidens or claimers or starter races. I don't play exactas or tries in there. And that's not what I'm looking for doing it, but I just feel like I have a better understanding of those types of races. So like in those races in the Breeders' Cup, I did do some exactas and tries because I felt like those are, I can tend to understand that race, this puzzle better. Day-to-day wise, I don't really go looking for exactas or tries or something, that just whatever stands out to me. I like win bets. Like I bet Vequist. I emptied the roll on her. That was a 7-horse field, and the value 6-1 was phenomenal. A lot of those horses could win,
right?
But 5-2 on somebody else, it was not that much better than 6-1. And so she was definitely value in that race.
Yeah, that was on day 1 of the BCBC. So that was your first big hit that helped you build your bankroll considerably going into day 2, right?
Yeah, I think I just bet her to win. I forgot what I had, 2,800 or 2,900. I was gonna blank that entry, and you go for it. That was the last third of my money. So I think I got up to 20K with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna post your play for race 7. Take us through the process a little bit of how you came up with this wager, and then talk a little bit about the structure here. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen. This is how Dylan is looking at race 7. He's gonna focus on the doubles here. So why don't you just give us a little bit behind your thought process?
Yeah. So basically, in every race, if you like 2 horses, don't lie to yourself. You're going to like one horse more than the other, whether it's 5%, 10%, 1%. It's just lazy and non-economical to say that you like these 2 horses the same, because you don't. I mean, you can't. It's you're going to like one more than the other. So like what's the horse's name? I forgot.
I'm Leaving You, number 3.
I like that horse better than Rip City, so I'm going to weigh it in that opinion. I'm going to $20 double, 3 to the 8, $10 double, 9 to the 8. Galilean is a horse I really like in the next race, so I like another horse in there, but not as much.
Right.
So I'm gonna do a double. I'm Leaving You to Loudmouth, and then my second opinion to my second opinion. A 5-weight, $5 double, 9-9. So you have to weigh your opinions. You're not going to like them the same. If you do like them the same, you probably shouldn't be betting it. It's not. I don't know. There's instances for it, but I don't really do it a lot. So, especially in daily doubles and stuff like that. Exactas, I think, are a little different. But I don't know. I'm still trying to improve the gameplay and stuff like that. But for doubles and stuff like that, I really, really, really think you should weigh them according to your opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the best case scenario for any handicapper is to look at a race, say, oh my God, I hate the favorite, and I absolutely love one horse.
Sure.
That's the best case scenario, but that doesn't happen all the time. It happens rarely, right? Where you just absolutely fall in love with one horse who's going to be good value. That's the best case scenario. More often than not, we like a couple of horses who we give chances to win. A lot of it's going to be depending on their odds, but in reality, we're going to like one of those horses a little more than the others. So it behooves you to weight your investment according to your opinion.
Yeah.
So like you said, you have a stronger opinion with number 3, who also happens to be the better value, right? That horse will probably be, 6, maybe 7-1, as opposed to Rip City, who's 3-1 on the line. So not only do you like that horse a little better, but he's better value. So if you're right, you're investing more of your money, you're going to have a bigger score.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I find about doubles, and I preach this all the time, I think the double is used to be one of the marquee bets back in the day, but because of all the other exotics, the pick 4, the pick 5, the pick 6, it's kind of gotten forgotten. And to me, I think the double offers the most value of any wager at the racetrack, basically because you can look at the probable pays and figure out which combinations might be getting overbet. Especially in races, if you find two races in a row where you don't like the favorites, and you look at the probables and the favorite combination is getting hammered,
Sure.
there's value in other combinations. So you can actually look and figure out what these bets are going to pay and do the math and figure out how much you want to take out of the race, and then weight those bets accordingly based on your opinion and based on the probable pays.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was weird in the Breeders' Cup. So it was Monomoy Girl. I played a big double. I don't know if you're going to talk about it later, but I played.
No, let's talk about it now, because that was one of your plays.
Yeah, Monomoy Girl to Tarnawa, and I was thinking about what the if I just parlayed it instead, like the Monomoy Girl to Tarnawa. I think the $2 double was paying from Monomoy Girl to Magical $12. And the $2 double from Monomoy Girl to Tarnawa was 14. All right, so I played the double, but in the next race, Magical goes off at 5-2 or 2-1, and Tarnawa goes off at 9-2. And I was like, oh man, I would have gotten a lot more money if I would have just parlayed all my Monomoy Girl, because I had a $4,000 double. If I would have taken $8,000 and just put it on Tarnawa at 9-2. I would have got more, but the horses drifted up at the end a lot. That 10 horse took a lot of money at the end, and that was kind of an instance where the will pays kind of backfired, I guess.
Yeah, no, that definitely happens, especially on a day like Breeders' Cup. You don't expect to see that much movement, right? Usually the doubles are pretty reliable indicators of what the win price is going to be.
Yeah, so you do have to, so stuff does happen, stuff does change. I think Magical went off at 2-1, and then the 10 horse, the other Euro got bet hard really late, and Tarnawa just floated up to 9-2. So that one kind of sucked, but that's all good.
But you hit the double. I mean, it still worked out. Yeah. That's one of those rare instances where the parlay pays better than the double or the pick 3, whatever you do, but these are all things, like the whole point of one of the keys to being a successful horse player is being fluid, right? You can't be married to one thing. You have to be fluid throughout the day. In this instance, it didn't work out. The win parlay would have been better, but you're not married to one philosophy or one strategy, and you got to be fluid and change throughout the day. Well, let's look at race 8. It's the $100,000 Cary Grant Stakes. It's the featured race on today's 9-race card. 7 furlong main track affair for Calbreds. Morning line favorite is the very talented number 8 Galilean at 5-2. All he does is beat up on fellow Calbreds, no matter what surface or distance. Just a cool, consistent horse. Coming into the race off a game 5.5 furlong turf sprint win in the California Flag. Best horse in the race and a legitimate favorite. Although I do think Take the 101 is going to take a significant amount of money as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the tote plays in that race. What do you think, Dylan? I know you have a strong opinion here.
Yeah, I really like Galilean. I really like that Del Mar Mile was a really, really, really good race. The winner of that, Mo Forza, is like my favorite horse. And I think that horse is just the best miler in the world. I was really unlucky, really sad to see him not running the Breeders' Cup Mile. But that race was really strong. A lot of those horses who came back who were kind of near the pace or outside, they came back and fired really well. It was Bombard came back and ran a banger after with like a 102 buyer. I think the horse who finished up ahead of him, I forgot who it was. Bob and Jackie came back and ran a really good race.
Yeah.
Against Mo Forza again. I don't think he wants to turf sprint. I just think Galilean was that talented that he won that race just on talent and class. Like he just started getting going at the end.
Right.
I think this 7 furlongs, 1 turn mile with some speed that can be in front of him should just be really up his alley. There's 8 horses in the race. If he's 8-5, I mean, I think that's value. I think you bet him to win, and I think he's the horse to beat in this race. So no, 8-5. He's 8-5. And you're cashing a ticket, move on to the next race, move on to the next day.
Yeah, like you said, 8-5 is value if you think a horse should be even money or even potentially odds on. Because really, I mean, you have to like the fact that Take the 101 is in the race, because I know the horse is doing well. Horse has some good races on the form. A lot of people will gravitate to that horse as the alternative to try and beat the favorite. So you might actually get a little bit of value on Galilean, because that horse might Take the 101 might take more money than is potentially warranted.
Sure. No, that I hope. Yeah. Even, it's even if you think the horse should be 6-5 and he goes off at 8-5, that's value.
Yep.
It's 2-1. If he goes off at 5-2 and he should be 8-5, that's value.
Yep.
It's just getting the right side of the number. If you get the right side of the number over the long haul, you'll be on top.
That's right. That's how you get your edge. You want to be on the right side of the number in the long run. Eventually, you're gonna win and hopefully beat the takeout.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
All right. So why don't you walk us through your wagering strategy here, and just audience, just so you know, I just put these denominations up to give you an idea of how Dylan weights his bets and how he structures his tickets. So you can feel free to bet as little as you want or as much as you want. I just wanted to put these numbers in as place markers so you can kind of see how he weights his opinions. So yeah, Dylan, why don't you just take us through the thought process behind this wager?
I'm still trying to improve betting. Everyone should always try to improve and get better at things. So this might not be the right way to do it for you or the most economical way. I'm trying to get better. But I think Loudmouth is on the up and up, and he had a nice, very, very, very nice win in his last race. If he's 20-1, I want to have $10 on him to win. I wouldn't suggest putting $100 to win on Galilean and then $50 or $20 to win on Take the 101, something like that. That's not a smart gambling move. So I also was going to do an exacta box. You can weigh it. I like weighing it. I didn't know exactly what to do weighing it this way. You could just bet Galilean to win and then key him in the second hole with just Loudmouth on top. But to make it easy for here, I just did $5 exacta box, 8-9. If my opinions are right, then you're going to get good. I mean, the exacta, I don't know what the exacta probable would be with Galilean to Loudmouth. I mean, that's got to be 30-1 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say about $30. Yeah.
So, if you have that 5 times, that's not bad. But I really do like Galilean. I think he's the most likely winner, and I think he'll offer some value in the race, because I think Take the 101. If Take the 101 wasn't in this race, he would be 3-5.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
So I think that Take the 101 is going to take his money. He's a good horse too. I mean, it jumps out. He ran in a grade 1. He ran a 104 or whatever his buyer was, a fantastic buyer. And I'm not saying he's not going to win. I just don't think his odds are going to represent how likely he is going to win.
I agree. So Galilean is the key to your day. If Galilean wins, hopefully you'll have the double in the previous race to Galilean. You'll have a nice win bet, and you have a live long shot loudmouth to run second, or even win if Galilean doesn't fire. I really like how you set up your day and your explanation between the weighted bets and how you really use wagering to reflect your opinion of the race. So I appreciate your taking the time to spend with us. Congratulations on your recent tournament success. Keep it going. I hope in 8 weeks when we look at the leaderboard for the NHC Tour, you see your name at the top there.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic. I told Jonathan Kinchin, because someone said he was 33 when he won it. So I'm 29, so I could be the youngest guy to do it. That'd be pretty sweet.
There you go. I'm sure JK would be the first to congratulate you if you did. So that would be cool.
Yeah, I want to be alive. There's a sweat. I could be alive for the sweat if you win the tour and then you win the NHC, which is ridiculously hard.
It's a bit of a lottery, but you know,
$5 million bonus. But hey, I want the sweat.
Why not?
So, sometimes you just bet for the sweat. No.
Well, yeah, that actually reminds me, because we talked a little bit about that yesterday, how your evolution of a horse player. Back in the day, you used to be very loose and just like to fire away. And, you know, like we used to say, we say this affectionately, total degenerate mode, right? Now you're a lot more targeted, a lot more disciplined. You treat it more like a business.
Oh, yeah, no, this is my first year that the last couple of years I've made it. Definitely, you have to treat it like a business if you're going to win. Because if you don't, and you're betting enough money, I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to get killed. So you have to take it seriously. Sure, you know, there's a few little things that you still do, like $10 to do this and stuff like that. But if you don't take it seriously, if you don't write stuff down, if you don't keep records, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to get your butt kicked. So
that's right.
You know, you gotta be disciplined, because there is a way to make money at this game. There really is. And you don't hear a lot of stories about it, because not a lot of people do it, because it's so hard to have discipline. It's hard. It took me years to gain discipline. And sure, you're always, you know, you can get lucky. You can pop up the form 30 minutes before the card and you can do it. You can win a tournament, a live tournament on horse tourneys or whatever, and you can do it. And be like, oh God, this is easy. But keep doing that. I promise you, you're gonna get your tail kicked. It's not a winning proposition over the long haul. It's not gonna work.
It's a humbling sport. If you don't do the work, it's gonna kick you in the teeth. So you got to do the work. You got to stay disciplined, and you got to make your opinions count. Yep. So that's the lesson.
You have to make it count. I was 3 for 16 in the Breeders' Cup, or 3 for 14.
Right. We talked about that. I said, I'm going to go back and look at all your BCBC wagers. You're like, well, I only hit 3 of them. And I go, well, that was enough to finish third. And it reminded me of a time I was walking into Santa Anita Park one day, and some guy runs up to me in the parking lot. He's like, hey, Frank, you got all the winners for today? I said, all of them? I only need one. You know, you got to make that one winner count. Yep. So that's a good lesson. Thanks again, Dylan. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you go. I know you got a lot of action going on today. Thanks to everyone for watching. We'll be back again next weekend for an amazing Thanksgiving week of racing at Del Mar. Look for Dylan in the live money tournament on Saturday, November 28th. Hopefully you guys can play as well. And that's it. Good luck to us, and let's make some money. Thanks for everyone. Bet the sweat.